All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Procurement Federal Acquisition Supplement and Defence Federal Acquisition Supplements Clauses. I'm Eric Marquette, and I'm here with Ruby Sturt, Paul Natopsky, and of course, Roz the Rulemaker. So today we're diving into a big question. Should your business get involved in the defence supply chain? There's a lot to weigh, some major upsides, and trust me, some hidden traps too.
Eric, the benefits are huge if you get it right. Defense contracts tend to be large, multi-year, and they're insulated against economic downturns to an extent you just don't find in the commercial space. You win a contract with the DoD, and all of a sudden you've got predictable revenue, maybe enough to scale your company fast.
Yeah, and it's not just the money. Your reputation jumps too. I've actually seen this firsthand. Ages ago, I freelanced for this Aussie software company. They were kind of unknown, real scrappy, good at what they did, but small. Anyway, they cracked their first US defense contract. It was massive for them. Within a year, their entire staff doubled, and they started getting interest from partners who never would have called them before. It was that credibility thing instantly unlocked.
That's a relatable story, Ruby. And from the regulatory perspective, federal contracts can certainly foster growth. You're pulled into a different league, networking, research collaborations, access to new resources. But with those opportunities comes significant responsibility. We'll unpack that, but suffice to say, entering this ecosystem can absolutely change the trajectory of a business.
So it's not just about making more money. You're joining a club where the rules are strict, but the rewards can be transformative. But I feel like that's the shiny side. There's another side which, let's be real, is less glamorous. So let's start digging into a bit of that now. A lot of people underestimate how different, even how bureaucratic, federal defence contracting is compared to regular commercial work. I remember advising a media company that transitioned from private clients to handling federal contracts. They nearly doubled their entire admin budget just trying to keep up with the new accounting demands. Government accounting systems aren't optional. They're mandatory, and it takes real money and know-how to get them right.
Absolutely. FAR and DFAR's compliance. It's a world of paperwork. You need the right accounting structures, separation of direct and indirect costs, compliance tracking, regular audits. Overhead just balloons. Many firms, especially smaller ones, don't anticipate how much specialized staff they'll need, both in finance and compliance. It can rapidly outweigh any profit you'd imagined, at least out of the gate.
Yeah, I've had mates who thought, we'll just add one compliance person, and suddenly it's like, oops, now you've got a team and you still can't keep up with the paperwork. And it doesn't go away. It's month after month, year after year, right?
That's right, Ruby. From an administrative law perspective, there's also the requirement to maintain complete auditable records, sometimes for years. Federal agencies expect consistency, defensible processes, and transparency. If you haven't invested in proper record keeping, you're setting yourself up for trouble down the road, possibly even a contract termination if the government loses confidence.
So you need to budget not just for what you're selling, but for a whole ecosystem of compliance. That might be a deal breaker for some businesses, honestly.
And then there's cybersecurity, which honestly deserves its own spotlight. If you're handling controlled unclassified information, CUI, DFARS requires you to comply with frameworks like NIST SP 800-171. That's not just for you, but sometimes for every subcontractor in your chain too. One mistake, one gap, and you're suddenly liable for a lot more than you bargained for.
And look, it doesn't just mean having strong passwords and a fancy firewall. They're actual assessments. If you misjudge and something slips, the cost can go way past IT headaches, right?
Definitely. I worked with a contractor, technically brilliant folks, but they glossed over the new DFARS cybersecurity clause. When the government did a spot check, they had to scramble, pulling in outside consultants at a major cost to fix the gaps. They nearly lost the contract. It isn't just a one-time hurdle. You're maintaining this posture, continuously improving, and proving you have, this is a key word, evidence of compliance.
And from a compliance standpoint, the consequences of lapses are severe. Termination for default, negative past performance ratings, suspension, or fines. It's a non-negotiable requirement, and it's evolving. Agencies are moving toward more third-party and real-time assessments. As we discussed in the last episode on DoD cybersecurity requirements, you really can't afford to be complacent here.
So you're not just securing your systems, you're securing your entire business future. It's part of every proposal and every contract now. If your house isn't in order, the risks are, frankly, existential.
Let's talk about certifications, because a lot of new entrants don't anticipate the time or complexity involved. For many products and services, you'll need specific qualifications: ISO, cybersecurity attestations, safety approvals. Leaving these to the last minute often leads to contract delays, or worse, missed opportunities. It's essential to map these out early in your process.
Agreed, Roz. Developing a strategy upfront for documentation, internal testing, pilot programs, that's how you demonstrate performance and compliance quickly to a defense agency. And frankly, it's how you keep auditors happy too.
And don't skimp on third-party help. Like seriously, bring in consultants who've done this a billion times before. They'll spot things you didn't even think to check for. Missing a small detail could throw your whole submission out of whack.
So, get those requirements on your radar early. Don't bank on shortcuts, and lean on the people who know the ropes. That'll keep you from being blindsided when the contract actually lands. Alright, so let's say you're ready to move forward. One thing that stood out to me, especially seeing how other firms succeed, is that relationships matter. A lot. Knowing procurement officials, engaging with industry associations. It isn't just networking, it's your information pipeline. You get early heads up on contracts, learn the quirks of each agency, and sometimes even get an edge in the proposal game.
Precisely. And it helps to invest time in understanding how the defense acquisition system operates, especially requests for proposals, or RFPs, and the Federal Procurement Data System, or FPDS. If you track contract awards, competitor activity, procurement trends, you'll be able to target your efforts more effectively. I'd also recommend aligning internal compliance calendars with key procurement cycles to ensure you're prepared for deadlines and renewals.
It's not just cold strategy. These relationships help demystify the process. You'll know whom to call when there's a red flag or when you're confused by shifting rules. A little investment in outreach pays dividends later, especially when you're under deadline pressure.
And if you don't build this network, you'll feel like you're guessing all the time. Most of the companies that struggle did it mostly alone. The ones that really succeed, they're the ones who make connections early, learn the culture, speak the language, all that. It's not just paperwork and checklists, it's people too.
Now, if, and honestly, when you win your contract, you need a long-term management plan. It's more than just checking boxes on day one. It's tracking renewal dates, compliance changes, and meeting those performance milestones that the government expects. Mess it up, and you lose eligibility, or worse, your contract entirely.
That's such a good point, Paul. I think a lot of folks get so focused on landing the contract, they forget there's this entire marathon afterwards. Like keeping up with new regulations, regular audits. It can be overwhelming if you don't have a system or people dedicated to it.
Indeed, and from a policy standpoint, you want to invest in ongoing training for your team. Ensure everyone understands federal procurement regulations and their individual obligations. It minimizes costly errors and helps your business respond nimbly to reviews and audits. I'd also advise appointing a specific compliance team who monitors regulatory and cybersecurity updates, so you're adapting proactively rather than scrambling reactively.
Otherwise, you'll just be putting out fires, right? The folks who succeed, at least from what I've seen, they treat it like a living project, always tweaking, always watching for what's next.
And as you settle in for the long haul, you'll need a continuous improvement process for both cybersecurity and compliance. I recommend internal audits, mock assessments, and regular check-ins to catch vulnerabilities before the government does. It's about building resilience.
Couldn't agree more, Roz. Stay updated by forming partnerships with experienced defense consultants, legal advisors, and maybe even cybersecurity specialists who track those moving regulatory targets. Keeping your certifications up to date saves you a lot of last-minute pain when renewals come up.
And don't forget training, not just the boring online kind. Run practice drills, like what if there's a contract breach or a cyber incident? Build confidence in your team so they aren't staring blankly if something goes wrong. It's all about building muscle memory for the stuff you hope never happens.
Exactly, Ruby. The more proactive you are, tightening processes, scenario training, and documenting compliance, the more likely you are to keep those contracts safe and growing. All right, folks, I think we've covered quite a bit today.
If you're thinking of stepping into the defense supply chain, don't underestimate the complexity, but also don't sell short the massive opportunities if you go in with eyes open.
The regulatory environment requires careful navigation, but strong systems and good relationships can make those hurdles manageable. With discipline and foresight, the rewards are well within reach.
And if you do make the leap, don't forget to text your accountant, your lawyer, and your IT folks. You'll need them, trust me.
All right, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. This is Eric signing off. Ruby, Paul, Roz. Always a pleasure.
Cheers, everyone. Always good fun. Catch you next time.
Take care, everyone. Stay secure.
Goodbye all, and remember, stay curious and stay compliant. Until next time.